So we are the Marauders from McMaster University, and we believe that our solution lies in small loans and big impacts. So we would just like to take a moment to address how we perceive the issue and the avenues for potential private sector intervention. So obviously Bangladesh is a climate sensitive country with declining arable land due to climate-based disasters, river erosion, and vulnerabilities for coastal towns and cities. This also means that there's an increasing demand for food, doubling since the 1970s, paired with the fact that there is increasing youth unemployment, with youth making up more than 30% of the population, and a decline in youth participation in agriculture. This makes this sector key to the future of Bangladesh. For example, Nurjahan is one of 7.1 million Bangladeshis displaced in 2022 alone, having her own farm destroyed and having to move, potentially facing a future of moving to an urban area, unable to carry out agriculture in a rural setting. So we, the firm, are a consultancy practice specializing in skill development, environmental sustainability, and youth empowerment. We have identified ACI Limited Bangladesh as the client best placed to intervene in this situation through the potential solution we will identify. They are one of the largest Bangladeshi conglomerates with a number of diversified business units, including pharmaceuticals and agri-products, but their main focus is on agribusiness. We believe that the solution to this crisis is a human-led, community-centered, and focused on improving the lives of Bangladeshi people, alleviating the pressure to move to urban areas. This is in line with ACI's mission statement up on the side for you there. It is integral that ACI's values not only align with our own, but match the values that we have entrenched within the solution. Our plan is to use microfinance and enterprise as an instrument to improve the lives of displaced people through structured migrations to regions facing risk of climate change related disasters and using agribusiness and sustainable practices. This will look like conditional funding of young people's participation in agribusiness with front-loaded sums of between $50 to $150, leading to a total amount of $100 to $200 over a period of 2 years. And we expect to see a yield from this within a 5-year term. We believe this is a creative solution because it focuses on the future of Bangladesh and its young and underrepresented communities. Not only are these communities seeing a decline in their participation with agriculture, but agriculture is integral to the continued growth and success of Bangladesh in the face of climate change. We understand that this may seem like an abstract solution, so we would just like to take the time to address some of the practicalities. These will be sorted into environmental sustainability, financial sustainability, and community building. So it's important for the future of Bangladesh to be environmentally sustainable. Taking into account the fact that agriculture has been responsible for damages to the environment. Sustainable agriculture has the opportunity to lessen agrochemical use and improve soil health. And some of our proposed techniques include crop diversification, integrated pest management, and irrigation. It is also important to note that our client ACI has a research development university. So by championing these environmental sustainability techniques, there is room for ACI to become a market leader through microfinancing in this area. These 3 proposed solutions all lead to increased yield, improved soil health, and protection of biodiversity. This is not only in the short term, but can produce long-term effects that are important to the overall agricultural health of the country. We have also decided to complete a risk assessment to assess the financial pragmatism of this solution. We have taken a look at market competitor Braxseeds and Agro Enterprise. As a key market leader, it is also a non-profit NGO. But demonstrated in the graph, it has seen a steady increase in the profitability of its microfinancing operations over the last 4 years, capping only with the intervention of COVID. Whilst it is important that Braxseeds does have an established microfinancing limb, it does show that there is room for growth within a business setting of microfinancing. We have developed a short-term and long-term plan which develops the financial viability and scalability. In the first year, we would recommend a training and skill development program for about 1,000 individuals, which will include funding for these individuals as previously mentioned. We anticipate that whilst early years in the sector can be difficult, the training and funds provided by this scheme will give the capacity to be successful. Within 5 years, we expect that farmers should achieve the required success they are able to repay their loans. Despite the possibility of failed harvests and those unable to continue within the business, ACI should be, we've projected this at around 80%, and ACI should be able to achieve profits of over $100,000 in that 5-year period. In the future, this would allow for scalability of the microfinancing, which will increase access and improve the ability for young people in Bangladesh to access agribusiness. This can also lead to community building, as the availability of capital will not only allow mitigation of disasters as they happen, but open avenues for communities at risk to begin the process of migration to less at-risk areas. We have also undertaken some stakeholder mapping to consider the effects of this solution. It is important for the success of this for ACI to form local alliances. For example, there is a Bangladeshi youth program, which already has a program in place to facilitate loan access to young people within Bangladesh and has about 15 banking partners. So there is clear potential here for local alliances to not only facilitate access for ACI to the market, but also to improve the effectiveness of microfinancing in this area. So our plan really is about using microfinancing to support the sector, and in doing so, create new customers for ACI. It is able to mitigate and also prepare for displaced climate refugees, helping to place routes for communities outside of at-risk areas. Growth in the agricultural sector will also help to prepare and protect Bangladesh against climate change in the future, with new sustainable practices and innovations strengthening the sector as a whole. And with youth unemployment on the rise and a decline in agricultural participation, it is important to reframe this sector as an exciting and capital-heavy sector for youth involvement in the future, for the protection of Bangladesh. And we'd like to thank you for listening to our presentation and invite some questions.